our next step now is to trace off the front skirt. So at the moment we've traced off the front bodice at size 9, which is according to Charlotte's measurements and where she is on the chart. So we are now going to trace around the size 9 skirt and also the size 9 dart to match the bodice. So we're going to do that first of all. So the same as everything else, you place your piece of paper over the top, you pin it into position, and you give yourself a little bit more room on the side seams if you need to go between sizes, which we know we do. So I'll pin this down here, and then we will trace around the size 9, which is on here, is the outer edge. So we'll go all the way down. Here there is a notch here, which is your hip line, and then this tends to be a nice straight line all the way down to the hem. The hem for your toile you can leave at one length, and then you can address that once you've made the whole thing up to see how you like it. And then your centre front is a lovely continuous straight line, so you can also do that one with your pattern master. Then on the top, you just trace little dashes along. You need to find where your dart is, so this one here is your size 9. You're going to trace up and trace up there, and then you've got your little point on top there, and everything else again is a case of joining those features up. And marking in your size 9 dart so it matches your bodice exactly. There we go. And then you come down from there. Okay, so that at the moment is your skirt, and then your hip line is marked in here, and this is really useful to just know where you've measured down to for your hip measurement. So we will write that in. Hip line, we'll also write on here that this is the size 9 and this is the side seam. You also want to make a note of your centre front. This is where the red line is useful to know your grain lines and know that that is a really important pattern feature to make sure you are aware of when you're cutting out. So that is your centre front cut on the fold. So this is your piece as it is. So we can now take this off, and because Charlotte's measurements show that she needed the size 10 as well, we need to go to the next graded size up. So we'll just get that traced underneath. If you were going to do the size 8 and 9, you could always just draw the same side seam here, the size 8 alongside, because that's underneath. But because we need to jump to the next size, I'm going to bring this over, and we will just place this all in position here. So I've just matched up the centre front at the top there and the centre front at the bottom. And what we'll see that the size 9 is here, the size 10 is this green one here. So then we're just going to trace the size 10 side seam. So we don't need to trace anything else of the skirt because the lines are very similar anyway, apart from your side seam. Go all the way down, and you can just join this little bit up here. Now this then is size 10, but the big thing is your size 9 dart is exactly the same as the bodice. So we're going to take these out now. what we're now going to do is have your front bodice and your front skirt attached at the waistline. So I'm just going to cut a little bit of excess off here. And you are now going to match up these points on here, which are your centre front. And again, you can put a little pin there or some masking tape. And then up on this side, you'll see that the side seams here and the waist will also match up as soon as I put that down there. Pin that. Check that hasn't moved. So the main thing is, you can see on here that your darts line up here, which is the really, really key thing. Okay, this area here, so that if you've drawn a dart the wrong size, it will just be sitting slightly off there. So that is vital. Size 9 and size 9. Now, when we were looking at Charlotte's measurements, she was a size 9 on the bust, and then she was a size 9 on the waist, but she went out to nearer the size 10 on the hips. So it's really simple. All you're doing is you're keeping it size 9 on the bodice and size 9 at the waist. So we'll just trace through so you can see there. But all we're going to do is take the waist from the 9 to graduate out to the size 10 hip. So if you think we've got no pointy bits on our hips, it just needs to be a nice gradual shape out. And we will just join that size 10 side. I'm going to draw this in with a pattern master so you can see it. Just copy this little bit in. So what we now have is a front bodice and a front skirt block that will now work together from size 9 through to size 9, and then a gradual growth up to size 10. So if I write here, this is size 10, you can see how that's just got rid of that little bit on the waist, but it now should work well on Charlotte's body. So what we'll do is we'll do that same alteration there on the side seam that we've done on the front. We'll do exactly the same on the back, and that is just the key thing. Darts the same size, graduate your seam allowances as you need them to be on the side. It might be that you go from the size 9 into a size 8 and then out. So as long as you've drawn every side seam size that you need, you can then pretty much just join between them, as long as you keep a nice smooth line to make sure that that works with your body and how your body curves, because you don't have angles. That's the main thing. Keep a nice smooth line, and that should set you up for whatever size you are, whether you're across 2 sizes, 3, sometimes 4. Just go with it and just graduate between sizes on the front and the back, and then you are set to move on to your next part.